Hey, it's Cy Blackburn here. And by the end of this video, we're going to focus on increasing the value of your time 5 to 10-fold. Now, up until this point, if you've watched any of the previous videos, we've talked about packaging up your coaching so that you can sell at higher rates. We've talked about creating outcomes versus processes and ultimately selling 3 or 4 times more than what you're currently selling. But you may have seen a limitation to what it is that we've been going through, and that is time. You see, up until this point, we've talked about only doing one-on-one. But there is a limitation to the amount of one-on-one clients that you can take on any given point. So today what we're going to talk about is not increasing the value of what it is that you're offering in terms of the price or selling more, but we're going to talk about increasing the value of your time exponentially. Now, to do that, you have to understand why the one-on-one model sucks, right? Why it just doesn't work when it comes to scaling a coaching business to 6 and 7 figures. Now, one of the greatest challenges which you're going to face while doing one-on-ones is when you raise your prices, all of your old clients start to vacate. They start to not want to coach with you anymore. The other issue with one-on-ones, you may have faced this already, is that they are 100% dependent on you. Meaning that all the motivation, the crises that they experience, they're going to come to you and expect you to deal with them. And at best, what ends up happening, if you're great at doing one-on-ones and you're fully booked, is that you just become a high-paid wage slave. It just becomes a highly paid job. And basically you lose out on your time freedom. Everything that you got into this business to have, the money and the time freedom. So let's talk a little bit about that, because the time freedom is one of the most important aspects of building a coaching business. Now, if you've been coaching for any amount of time, you'll realize a few common traits, right? Now, what you'll realize if you've been coaching for any amount of time is that 80% of your content that you teach people is identical from client to client, and only 20% actually changes based on the need of the client at any one time. Now, the one-on-one model doesn't take this into account. What the one-on-one model says is that every client is unique and every client should be treated in a unique way. But you as a coach realize that the reality is not that. The reality is that most of these clients that you're facing, their problems are very similar, if not identical, if you have a coaching package which you're selling them on. So this 80% of your time is just about repetition at the end of the day. Now, there is a way of increasing the value of your time exponentially. If you're looking at one-on-ones, and let's imagine for a moment you're charging $2,000 per client, right? You have a 6-week coaching program. Now, on that coaching program, over the course of 6 weeks, let's say maximum, you could probably take on 5 clients. That basically means that over the course of the 6 weeks, the most that you could earn would be about $10,000. Now, let's look at the coaches that are really succeeding. How many of them are still doing one-on-ones? And if they are they doing them for a $2,000 payday or an exponentially amount more in terms of their actual payday? The alternative to coaching one-on-one is a model which I call group coaching, which means the ability to take on 5 to 20 clients at any one time and really spend between 1 and 3 hours a week, not per client, but on all of your clients together. Let me explain how this works and why every other coach chooses this model as the entry into their business. Now, when you look at a group coaching model, it basically states that if 80% of your content is identical, we need to find a way to scale your delivery of this content without costing more time. Now, the best way to actually scale the ability to deliver your content is through something called a membership site. And what a membership site actually is, it's an online website which is password protected. And what that does is that's where you create video and text content, which basically incorporates the 80% of identical content. You record a series of videos, upload it to the membership site, and this is what you give your clients in that group coaching program. Now, the thing to factor in here is, of course, that's 80%. But there is 20% of content which is changing from client to client. Now, you have to factor that in creating a powerful, scalable group coaching program which you can charge high ticket for. And that's incorporated in a weekly Q&A. Now, you may want to change that from a weekly to bi-weekly to fortnightly, depending on what you're seeing your clients struggle with. But what happens in this weekly Q&A, it's typically between an hour to 2 hours, and you go through the issues that the clients are facing right now, implementing this 80% of content. What happens between the two of these is the background homework is done here, and really the exciting stuff, the 20% which lights you up, which gets you on fire, you get to do on a group on the Q&As. So by using this model, you're not only massively leveraging your time, but you're also enjoying what you do far more because you're doing the 20% which is engaging, intellectually stimulating. Now there is one more issue which we have to address with the group coaching model, which is momentum. Up until this point, you are going to have dependencies on you if you do one-on-one. So with a group, you don't want 20 people dependent on you. So there is a way of creating a group coaching program where the dependency and the momentum is dependent on everybody in the group. And that is by creating a private community. Now, what this private community is it's an online forum or a WhatsApp group. And this online forum is where the clients in your group coaching program are sharing their successes. They're sharing their wins. They're asking questions. And what you will find in this online community is that the clients help each other grow. So all of a sudden, you are the one leading the content, but the clients are the one driving the momentum with each other. It becomes like a team driving forward together. So this group coaching model will allow you to scale, massively decrease the amount of time you're spending, increase the quality of time, and increase the amount that you are paid per hour of your effective time. Now, an interesting byproduct of this is that you become hyper-exclusive in the positioning here. Because if access to you one-on-one is a rarity, meaning that you only get on the Q&A, right, and occasionally reply to somebody on a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group, your time becomes hyper premium, which means that when you do sell one-on-one, you can charge exponentially more. Let's look at coaches which have done that. If you look at Tony Robbins, he sells his one-on-one time for $1 million a year. And that is because he has a funnel which incorporates group coaching right on the outset and not one-on-one. It is the most powerful way of scaling up what you do, getting greater results for your clients, and ultimately making sure that the quality of time you spend in your coaching business is what you want to spend. Now, the real question becomes, how much should you price this at? Should you attract 200 clients in and charge low ticket, or should you charge high ticket for what it is that you offer? Because the pricing is going to attract a different type of client. If you charge more, the client's going to be totally different than one if you charge less. Now, let's get into that in the next video in terms of what you should price your programs at.